Are you tired of the blind leading the blind? Are you ready to escape the 9-to-5 grind and build a life that truly makes you happy? Are you ready to build generational wealth for you and your family? If any of this sounds like you, then breathe easy, because you are exactly where you need to be right now. A wise man once said, "When the student is ready, the teacher shall appear." So have faith in what I said and follow the path. My name is Khadijah LaShawn, and I am the Black guidance counselor that my community needs. I'm a strategic investor and CEO. I make money in my sleep, and I teach others how to do the same. I share my knowledge, talents, and resources with others. So if you're in need of that motivation or courage to start following your own path, look no further. My intention is to share as much value with you all as possible and to show you that there are many different paths to happiness and many different paths to wealth. You just have to find the one that's right for you. Today's episode was recorded on YouTube and then re-uploaded online. Hey everyone, my name is Khadijah LaShawn. I am going to be talking to you guys about my first time home ownership process at the age of 23. Again, if this is the first time you're tuning in, definitely subscribe below, like this video, it really helps the channel. I am basically making a series of videos explaining like all the steps that I had to take throughout the first time home ownership process. What I'm going to be talking to you guys about is basically how I align my mindset to prepare for home ownership, because if I didn't believe I could do it, I wouldn't be able to do it. It's important that you know to basically surround yourself around the people who are for you and push away or distance yourself from the people who aren't. You can pretty much manifest your reality. You can attract what you want out of this world. You can unattract or push away the things that you don't want in this world. You have a lot of control over your life, even in a situation that feels like you're powerless. You can control your mind. And when you control your mind, your thoughts and your actions follow. One thing to remember about home ownership is that it is a battle, okay? It is a long process. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna be like a boom, here's your house. You know, it's a lot of steps throughout the process. So it's important to remain resilient and determined, because you honestly have to constantly get back up again. Actually, to be honest with you guys, I put in multiple offers before my final offer was finally accepted. I had to put in at least, it was about 5 offers. On my 5th offer, I finally got the house. It's a lot of negotiations, a lot of just conversations that are had that you're not necessarily a part of. So it can make you feel really powerless, but it's important to remain resilient throughout the process, because you have to know the thing about accomplishing any goal in life is that, you know, the more you chuck at that goal, the more you try, eventually the goal has to be yours. It has to be yours. If you don't give up, you're going to have it, you know? So I did not get my first offer. I didn't get my second. I didn't get my third. I didn't even get my 4th. I got my 5th offer. And actually, even with the 5th offer, it wasn't a smooth sailing. Okay, here we go. It was problems during the inspection. It was problems with the financing part of it. It was problems with the owner not wanting to fix certain parts of the property. Like, it was a lot of back and forth, you know. My actual to close, like from the time that my offer was accepted to me actually getting the keys to my house, took about 5 months, okay? And that doesn't even include the time before this offer was put in, where I was looking at tons of other houses and putting offers on other houses. It was almost a year-long journey for me, you know, because I had to stay focused on the goal. I could not let things get in the way of what I knew was mine already. And that's where I talk about the whole aligning yourself, you know, like how you speak about things is how they are. If you say, I will never do this, or I'm never going to be able to do this, or I don't think, I try to avoid words like never, just negative words like that, because you kind of limit yourself. When you say that you're never going to be able to do something, it's like in your mind, you already know that you can't do it. You already know that you're not going to be able to do it. So your actions will never try to actually do it. So if you truly believe that, it's not possible for you to own a home, you're never going to be able to do it, you don't have this, you don't have that, that's going to be how it is. You're not going to have a home and you're not going to be able to do it because you don't believe in yourself. And that's really important. And any goal accomplishing, any law of attraction, when you're trying to accomplish something, it's important that you know in your head that it's already yours. It's already yours. Because you can't even let yourself think that you might not get it. You have to really put your all into knowing that it's going to be yours, because your actions will follow suit. You will do everything in your path to accomplish, to get over any hurdle, any obstacle in your way, because you know that that is yours and you're going to have it. This is a little bit further down the process, but when you do eventually put in offers, you are competing with investors. And when I say investors, I mean people who are buying properties to rent, people who are buying properties to hold on to it, people who are buying properties to flip the property and actually put money into it and like fix it up and stuff. So those people are in the market as well, and they buy in cash. The thing about financing, as a first-time homeowner, the typical first-time homeowner cannot buy their house in cash. That's just usually not the traditional thing. The traditional thing is to get a loan, to finance the house, because it's the most affordable option. You literally will have a house note, a mortgage that is typically less, maybe $200-300 less than what you would be paying for rent. And your money's actually going somewhere, because if after 5 years, you're like, you know what, I don't really want this house anymore, you can sell it back on the market and get back the equity that you put into it, as long as the house value stays the same. But also another thing that you can do, and that's something that I plan on doing, is when I do decide to move on from this house, is I can rent it out. I'm actually doing that right now. I'm Airbnb-ing a couple of rooms in my house so that, hopefully my mortgage will be paid every month and I don't have to worry about that bill. That is the benefit of owning your home, is that, yes, it is tied to your name. It's your responsibility and yours alone. So it's important to know that you will be able to take care of it, or you will find a way to take care of it at all times. However, the benefit is that you'll have more than just one room. So you could have roommates if you want. You could have an office if you want, and a home-based business where you can write off certain things in your taxes. You can rent out the rooms to a roommate. You can rent it out for Airbnb. I've actually done the roommate thing, and it was successful for a couple of months. Well, no, it is successful. But basically, I decided to, instead of getting another roommate, I wanted to get basically someone, Airbnb. So I'm Airbnb-ing out my guest bedroom. I'm sitting in my guest bedroom right now, as well as my my basement, because it has a bathroom down there. So what I'm trying to explain to you guys is that, owning a home is a moneymaker. It's a moneymaker. You're investing in your house, which is yours. Nobody else can say it's theirs. It's yours. So you're investing in something that you own. That money is going into it, but it will come out later. I guarantee you it will come out later. Either you stay in the house forever and you pay it off and you're good, or you let somebody move in and rent it to them and you own it forever, or you sell it, or you put some money into it and you can flip it. Real estate is honestly where it's at. And it's a blessing to own a home in this day and age. It's a blessing because nobody else can determine how your life is going to go, as far as your living situation. You can determine it. because you have the control. Again, in renting, you don't have the control. You can't just do certain things in there. You can't just redecorate. I mean, you can do certain things as a renter. And there are benefits to renting. I don't want to downgrade renting. I'm just saying that home ownership, as far as getting into the real estate business and getting into real estate where, you know, a lot of money can be made, you know, owning your home is the first step towards that. Owning your home is a great step, especially for young people who are ready to stay in one place for the next couple of years. You know, I know a lot of people have a significant other, you know, they have friends, they have family, and those are ties. Those are definite ties that may prevent you from owning your own home or may discourage you from owning a home. However, you have to honestly weigh the pros and cons for you, you know. It's a lot of pros on both sides and it's a lot of cons on both sides too, but you just have to decide which decision is best for you. So I'm getting a little bit away from what I was talking about. Yes, like I said, investors, they can pay in cash. They're like, hey, you know, I know this person put in an offer for 150K, but I can pay you 100K today. In the next 10 days, I will pay you 100K in cash. Financing can take months. It can. And it can be discouraging for sellers because they want to hurry up and get rid of their house. They want to be done with it and move on to their next situation. However, if you remain resilient and consistent, you will get your first home. Okay? It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but with consistency and resilience, you can get there. Another thing that ties into mindset is paying attention to your actions, right? If your goal is like, I want to save up $10,000 before I move into my first home. Okay, that's your goal. But if every weekend you're out, I know that's not like really as much of a thing now with COVID, but if you're spending money on alcohol, spending money on weed, spending money on food, spending money on anything and not saving, is that really your goal? It's important to pay attention to what you say are goals and what your actions are saying. Because if your actions are spending all your money, how are you saving? You know, and one thing about buying a home is you have to save, you know. It's not as bad as what people say. Like, you don't have to save like 20,000. I mean, it's if you do, that's awesome. That's awesome. Praise to you. But I will be honest, you know, you do need to save money. And it's possible to do it without a ton of money, but it's also good to plan ahead. You know, like if you are owning a home for yourself and you're the only person who owns it, it's important that you plan ahead of time. You know, you don't just dive into there, but you actually come into it with a plan. Like, what is your goal with the house? Are you going to rent out the rooms? Are you going to keep one room to yourself? Are you going to keep the whole house to yourself? Because that's always an option too. I just say, you know, if you have the ability to live rent-free, why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you? I know people are stubborn and they don't like sharing, and I completely understand. Like, as an Aries, I hate sharing. I hate sharing. But do I like having a $0 mortgage, you know, or a negative mortgage where I can pay it off faster, or I can just have some spending money, you know? I do. I absolutely do. So I can sacrifice certain things so that I can get to where I want to be, which is to live rent-free, mortgage-free. So that's why I choose to do Airbnb. That's why I choose to rent out my car. That's why I choose to do certain things, because even though I don't like sharing, I do like the freedom of not having to pay certain bills. There are necessities and then there are wants. Are you choosing your wants over what you need? Or are you choosing what you need over what you want? Do you need to buy a house, or do you need to go shopping? You know, do you need to buy a house, or do you need to smoke every day? Do you like it? And here's the thing. I'm not saying stop doing the things that you want. I'm just saying stay focused on the goal, you know, and limit what you want so that you can have what you need. So for me personally, I was in a situation where I I finished college, I had my freedom for 4 years, and then I'm back home, back living with my parents, sharing my room with my younger sister, who we don't get along. We get along now that we don't live together, but we don't get along well when we have to share a room together. And that's just the honest truth. Did I hate my family? Absolutely not. Did I hate living with them? Absolutely not. Did I prefer the freedom? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not about my parents. It's not about my family. It's about the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. It's not that I couldn't do that at home. It's just more so I don't have to worry about being questioned about where I'm going. Something as simple as, why are you coming home so late? Or where are you at? What you doing? It's just like, I can have the freedom to just stay to myself and do what I want and do whatever I need to do or whatever I want to do without anybody questioning me. I can walk around my house naked if I want to. I can do whatever. I have switched rooms. Like, I was living in that room for the majority of the time when I first moved here. Then I moved into this room. I started living in here. Then I moved down to the basement, started living down there. And now I'm back in that room again. I just did the whole cycle. I can renovate my house. I can decorate it however I want. I don't have to worry about anybody's judgment, anybody's thoughts, anybody's opinions. Not that other people's opinions aren't welcome, but it's just nice to be free and independent, completely independent. That's something that I, as an Aries woman, I cherish, is my independence and my freedom to be selfish. Okay? Absolutely selfish about what I want to do, when I want to do it, and all that. I went from having the freedom of college to moving back home and sharing my space all the time, sharing my energy, because that's one thing to realize is that when you're in a house full of people or you're around people all the time, your energy is impacted by that. I could have a good ass mood, be in my room, reading my book, comfortable. My sister, boom, in there, she's mad about something, and then her energy impacts mine. I like the freedom to have my energy and just be by myself and chill, and welcome people into my space when I want to. When it came to saving and stuff like that, I had to stop spending so much money. You don't realize how much money you spend until you cut yourself off. Literally, I was buying drinks, I was smoking, I was going out, going to bars, I was hanging out with my boyfriend at the time. He was my boyfriend, but yeah, he ain't shit. So I spent a lot of money on him, on that relationship, on food and just stuff like that. And I just realized, oh my gosh, what if I just saved all this money? Why am I spending so much money? Especially when my goal is this. If my goal is to move out, I need to prepare. I need to be ready. I need to be absolutely ready, because I'm not moving out just to move back. I'm not doing that. It's a waste of time and energy. I had to stop being around people who I had to spend money to be around. I had to stop doing that because it wasn't conducive towards what I wanted to accomplish. If I'm spending all my money over here, how am I saving? And if I do save, if I can't hang out with you without spending money, then maybe we aren't really that good of friends that I thought. That's what I just had to start realizing. I smoked, I have a card and everything, but I started realizing I had to chill on that, because when I smoke, it's better if I do it at the end of a day instead of during the day, because if I do, then it kind of slows down my mind, and the things that I want to accomplish somehow become harder to accomplish, and I'm really unfocused when it comes to trying to accomplish things. So I had to cut down on that. Not stop completely, but just cut down. I had to start speaking what I wanted, another journey that I had throughout this home ownership journey was also a journey in my workplace. I went from being a regular associate to a senior associate, and then from a senior associate to a manager, all within a year, all before I moved into this home. So it was important for me to change my mindset about certain things because I found myself, I still have my immaturity in some ways, but I found that I had to grow up, when it came to certain things. I had to learn certain lessons and just realize that, like, not everybody around you who says they're for you is really for you, and I also had to start speaking what I wanted. The reason why I got manager is because I wasn't afraid to say, I'm going to get it. I already have it. I wasn't scared to say that, even in the face of the people who were hiring me. I said during my interview, I was like, yeah, so when I become manager, I can see myself doing X, Y, and Z. Or when I'm in this position, when I obtain this position, when instead of if, that when versus if is a big determination. If you keep saying, if I get my car, then, or if I get this house, then, if, it's like you're uncertain about your future. It's like you're questioning whether it can happen instead of knowing when it happens. You don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but you're already speaking that it is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So that's one thing to distinguish in the way that you speak about things, is being certain that things will happen instead of like, if, maybe, sometimes, I might, it's important to be very distinct in the way that you speak about your goals. So like, I will do this versus I would like to, or I want to be, instead of I am going to be, so it's just certain things about that. If y'all want a specific video about manifestation and law of attraction and stuff like that, I can do something like that. Just comment below and I'll do a video on it. But yeah, so I wasn't afraid to speak what I wanted out of this world. I also wasn't afraid to write things down, because here's a quote for you guys. A goal not written on paper is just a thought, and thoughts can be forgotten. How many people, I just wonder, how many people who are watching this video right now have said things like, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. And you just keep adding to the list and keep adding to this list. Like, I need to do this and I need to do that. I need to get this for this thing, and I need to get that and that and that and that. And just keep adding things of all these things that you need to do, but never write any of them down. And then out of those lists, say that list is like 10 things, how many of those things that actually get accomplished? And this is not me judging you. This is truth that from my experience, I learned if I don't write something down, I forget it. Like, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is a great idea for a video and I'm going to do this. And then if I don't write it down, it's gone. It's gone. And it might come back, it may not. So it's important to realize that, like, literally, don't be afraid to write down your goals. You don't have to write down specifically when it's going to happen. I mean, you can write a broad, this is what I did for 2020. And I'm going to be honest, 2020 was a hell of a year. It's still going. We're still going to see about things. But you can't be afraid to put pen to paper and say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish. This is what I will accomplish. You see what I did that? There, I correct myself. So if I say, if I did this, I say, no, when I do this, I'm going to X, Y, and Z. I'm not afraid to speak and write the things down that I want out of this world. Because how else is the universe going to know if you're not speaking it, if you're not writing it, if you're not looking at it? Something as simple as putting a Post-it in a place where you need to hear certain things. I can even do a whole video about affirmations, which are basically speaking positive things into yourself, telling yourself, looking in the mirror, at the beginning of each day. And this is something I need to get back into. But, like starting the day off, looking in the mirror and actually telling yourself, I am capable. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am loved. I am kind. I am sweet. I will do this. I will do that. I will accomplish this. I can do it. You know, it's something as simple as that. You know, people kind of like, I don't need to do that. But for the people who can't look at themselves in the mirror, you know, for the people who can't bear to look at themselves, look at their body, look at who they are, and tell themselves what they need to hear. Because we all have that moment in life where we feel really down, you know, or multiple moments. I know I have had multiple moments in life where I felt worthless. I felt ugly. I felt completely disgusted with myself, honestly. There have been times I felt that way. I'm glad to say that I no longer feel that way. I no longer feel that way, but it's not like that was an overnight thing, you know? It's not like I just all of a sudden knew that I am beautiful and that I can do things and that I will accomplish what I want to accomplish, you know? So it's a lot of self-talk too. It's important to speak to yourself with respect, to tell yourself what you need to do, and stop listening to the chatter of other people. Because one thing to realize is that nobody knows your exact situation better than you do. Nobody, even your best friend, even your mother, your dad, your significant other, nobody knows what you can do and what you are capable of more than yourself. So it's important to speak life into you. You know, if you find yourself, I have to do this with myself all the time. If you find yourself getting down about all the things that you don't have, all the things that you haven't done, remind yourself of the things that you have done. Remind yourself of the things that you have accomplished. Remind yourself of the things that you have done in life, because I can guarantee you can think of at least one thing. You know, something as simple as, I'm so glad that I took up the energy and cleaned up my room today. I didn't actually do that, but like something as simple as that, you know, like don't be afraid to reward yourself for the small victories, even if they aren't the big ones that you hope to accomplish, because they take time. Big goals take time to accomplish. Visualize what you want out of this world. One thing that I did, visualization is basically when you're thinking of yourself in a better situation, in a better spot where you want to be. So like for me, what I did was I started visualizing myself in the neighborhoods that I was looking for houses in. I started traveling to those neighborhoods with no specific reason, but to just look around the neighborhood, imagine myself walking down the street in this neighborhood. Imagine myself going to this park. Imagine myself walking my dog in this neighborhood. Imagine myself opening the keys to the door of my house. You know, imagine myself in my bathtub, comfortable, relaxed. Imagine myself, you know, like just imagine yourself where you want to be. Imagine yourself and put yourself in that place. You know, don't be afraid. If you can't physically put yourself in that space, at least surround yourself with images of where you want to be. You know, it could be something as simple as, you make a vision board of your travel plans. Say you want to travel to, for me, one of my plans is to travel to London. I haven't set it in stone yet, I'll be honest, because there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to that. But when I'm ready to envision that for myself, and when I'm ready to move on to that goal, I will make a vision board of pictures of London, of all the cities that I want to visit in London, of who I plan on bringing with me, of like, just like simple things. Like you want to visualize what you want out of this world so that you can actually see yourself accomplishing it. So your actions will follow suit. I hope that this is making sense to you guys. It's all about attraction. You know, you attract what you want. You don't attract what you don't want. So I don't speak about the things that I don't want to happen. I don't even put word on the things that I don't want to happen. I put word on the things that I do want to happen, because those are the things that I want. So I'm not going to speak anything that I don't want. When you're visualizing owning a home, What area do you want to live in? What city? What town? What state? What kind of house? Townhouse? A house? Don't be afraid to speak specifics. Don't be afraid to write these specifics down, because that is the first step. Visualizing yourself in making these decisions. How many bathrooms do you want? Do you want a backyard? You want a garage? You want a driveway? Do you want street parking? Do you want a yard? Do you want a fence? Do you want a pool? Do you want 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms? You want a basement, a finished basement? Oh, you want a finished basement? Oh, do you want a living room? Do you want a dining room? Do you want a kitchen? What kind of kitchen do you want? Do you want it to be modern? You want it to be old fashioned? You want it to be new appliances? What specifics do you want? Don't be afraid to speak them. Don't be afraid to reach for the sky. You know, there is a certain level you can always reach, you know, but one thing you can do when you're first starting your home search journey is you can get pre-approved by a lender and get like an approval letter that tells you how much you qualify for. So if you qualify for a house that's like worth $250K, you can look on Zillow, on the realtor.com, on Redfin. There's a bunch of apps and stuff. You can look in specific areas on the map and, you know, just put in your filters. Okay, I want a house in Columbia, Maryland. I want it to have 4 bedrooms. I want it to have 2 bathrooms. That is, again, reaching for the sky. If it's just for you, keep that in mind. One other thing that I had to do in my process of owning a home is I actually had to end a relationship that I had. And the reason why, there is multiple reasons why, but the ultimate reason why was because that person was not for me. You know, they didn't speak life into me. They didn't see my worth. They didn't love me the way I deserved to be loved. They also didn't have as much confidence in what I could accomplish as I did. You know, when someone starts talking down on you or saying, I don't think you should do that, or I don't know if that's the right path for you. Are you sure you want to do that? You know, I think that maybe you should do this, or maybe, you know, someone who constantly doubts you, who constantly does not recognize what you are capable of. Those are people that you need to distance yourself from in order to accomplish any goal, if that's home ownership or whatever. It's important to distance yourself away from people who are not speaking life for you, life into you, who are doubting your abilities, who don't believe that you can do certain things or that you'll be able to do certain things. So I had to end that relationship because that relationship wasn't for me anymore. You know, it wasn't, I couldn't envision myself in that person in that house. You know, I couldn't envision that person walking through my door. I couldn't envision that person, you know, in the future that I envisioned for myself. And that's one thing you have to realize, you know, and I'm speaking to the people who are in a situation like that. I'm not speaking to everybody who's happy in their relationship or whatever, because it's great to be happy in a relationship. It's awesome. But for those people who are in a situation where they feel like their partner doesn't believe in them, you know, where they feel like their partner doesn't give them, they don't envision, like, you know how you can think about something with someone, like you're in a relationship with someone and you're like, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to have this big old house, we're going to have all these kids and everything. Do you ever, like, in your mind think, like, is that really going to happen? Like if you have an inkling in your mind when a person that you're with speaks things like that and you're just like, yeah, like, you know how you don't feel confident in, like, certain things, like you may not rely, like you don't trust that those things will happen because you don't really see that happening. You know, if you have that feeling in your heart that you're just like, yeah, I don't know if I really want to lay next to you for the next however many years, you know, like If you have that feeling, I advise you to not continue, and waste your time and that person's time, just because, you know, it's important to have that independence, you know, that freedom to make decisions on your own and not make your decisions based off of someone else, if that makes sense. Because if you're making a major life decision and you have an anchor tied to you, how do you feel? How are you going to feel once you finally accomplish that goal? You're still going to have that anchor tied to you, you know? So I feel like when it comes to aligning your mindset and distancing yourself from the people who aren't for you, sometimes the people who aren't for you are the people who are laying right next to you. And that's just the honest truth. You know, not everybody who you are in a relationship with necessarily like is really for you or is really the best person who can help you. You know, you want someone who I mean, I feel like I said it all. You want someone who speaks life into you. So this is not to downgrade that person and say that they never helped me, they never did this, and they never did that, because that's not the truth. You know, the person that I'm talking about actually did give me a lot of tips on home buying and stuff like that, and just different areas, different neighborhoods to look at. And I praise him for that. I absolutely praise and respect him for doing that, because he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to help me throughout the process, but you know, just relationship wise, it just was not a good situation, honestly. So yeah, I had to end that relationship so I could move on and accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And I had to stop waiting for somebody else to determine my timeline. That's one thing too, in general, is you can't wait for somebody else to make a big decision for you, especially if you know this is the right decision. For me, I knew owning my own home was the best decision for me because, one, it would save me money in rent, okay? I would be investing in something, okay? On top of that, I could rent out the rooms, live rent-free. You know, like, it was just a win-win-win for me as far as owning a home. And, yeah, so I had to, like, get away from relying on somebody else's timeline and moving on their time. I had to start moving on my own time. Here's something else I had to learn is just like, stop asking for people's opinion. And I don't mean this to do with everything. I mean, when you're about to make a big decision and you ask the person closest to you, you know, sometimes, and this is not all the time, sometimes that person's not going to be as big of a believer as you are. Sometimes the people around you are not going to believe that you can do what you believe you can do. You know, they're going to doubt it. They're going to be like, I don't know about that. I don't think you should do that. Like owning at a house at 23. My parents didn't own a house until they were in their 30s. You know, so when I first brought the idea to them, best believe I got a lot of pushback. But you have to realize I wasn't asking for their opinion. I was telling them what I was going to do. You know, like I just had to kind of break it down to them. Even though they had their opinions on it and they had their thoughts about, you know, what if this happens? What if this happened? I just had to tell them, you know, whatever happens, I will figure it out. I will figure it out. You have to trust that I will. I'm not going to need your help. I'm not going to even ask for your help. I'm going to figure it out because that's my mentality is I will figure it out no matter what. No matter what happens, I will find a way because I am that resilient and I believe in myself. I know that I'm capable. I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set forth in my mind. So I just had to honestly stop asking people for their opinion because then you start basing your decisions on somebody else's opinion. And do you really want to be in a house that somebody else thought was cute? You know, that you didn't really think was cute? You're like, make your decision for you. And that's the thing is I was so used to asking people for their opinion, asking, what do you think about this? Well, what do you think about that? Or what about this? And then even though they would give me their opinion, I'm already thinking in my head, yeah, no, I'm not listening to them. So why did I even ask? Like, if you already know what you want, and that's the thing too, is getting used to like making decisions on your own. As a 23-year-old, I had been living in college, yes, but I had not been completely on my own until I finally moved out of the house into my own home. So until that point, I still had some type of influence from my parents, from the person I was with, from some type of influence from somebody, So I had to get away from that and get more towards, stop asking. Just do. What do you think? Not what do they think? What do you think? Is this a good house for you? Do you like the layout? Do you like how it looks from the front? Do you like the backyard? Is it a good size for you? What do you think? What do you think? And for the people who are in couples and they're buying a house together, make sure that you have lived with that person before. You don't want to move into a house, especially if both of you guys' names are on the house. You don't want to move into an investment with someone without knowing that you're going to at least be. And then also on top of that, if you don't plan on spending your life with that person, why are you with them? Like, I don't get why people will be in relationships and like be spending time with someone. Like, yeah, I'll probably be with them for like 3 or 4 years and then I'll find somebody else. It's like, why even waste that person's time? Like, why make a major decision to live with someone without knowing that that's going to be the person you feel comfortable living with for the next couple of 5, 10 years, whatever it is, And I'll speak more about mortgages and like the year terms and stuff like that in a different video. But yes, if you are deciding to purchase a home with someone else, make sure you see a lifetime with that person. Because for me, this is my starter home. Okay, and the person I live with, yes, I do see a lifetime with her. But I didn't make this decision based off of her. I made it based off of me. And that was my luckiness is at the time that I was at, I had the freedom to make the decision on my own. However, if you're in a relationship, make sure that that person's for you. Or just get the house for yourself and maybe they can move in later. Don't be afraid to do that either. There's nothing wrong with, and let's get away from that idea that you have to buy a house with somebody else, that you have to invest in something with somebody else. If that person's not your husband, not your wife, you don't have to do anything. They can move in with you later once you feel comfortable with that. But it's completely fine to live on your own too. It's completely fine to live on your own. You don't have to be in a relationship and live with that person. But if you decide to buy a house with them, make sure that's the person, because you're going to be stuck with them whether or not you like it, because I'm not going to say that, I live with my girlfriend. Absolutely, I live with her. But I'm not going to say that we always like each other or that we always want to be around each other or that we don't smother each other sometimes. We don't have arguments. We don't break up. We don't do that stuff. We do. We're a normal couple. We have the same issues that you have had, that anybody else has had. We have had those issues, except for cheating. We don't fuck with that. We know how to live with each other. Thank goodness, that it worked out that way. So it's a learning process, and living with someone is completely different from just being in a relationship with them. Completely different. Because even when you're mad, you still got to go to sleep in the same house. Unless y'all on some petty stuff and y'all decide to sleep separately or whatever. But it's a hard situation because you live together. It's another tie. Not just are you together, but you live together. Okay? So keep that in mind when you're making a big decision like that. Another thing I want to tell you guys is to stop asking I already told you to stop asking people's opinions, but also stop asking people's opinions. If you are going to ask someone for an opinion, ask someone who's done something like that before. Don't ask someone who's never done what you're trying to accomplish, because they will not be able to give you the honest truth because they haven't done it themselves. So it's hard for somebody to tell you how to do something they've never done. That's not, asking them for advice would be completely pointless, because if you've done your research, you should already know the answer. The next thing I want to talk about is distancing yourself from people who lie to themselves. And I mean this completely honestly. It's important to know that, when you tell yourself, I'm going to accomplish this goal, you know that you're going to do it. If you're around someone who always says, yeah, as soon as I get my car, as soon as my car gets out the shop, as soon as I do this, as soon as I get this job, as soon as I lose this weight, soon as, and they'll say all this stuff. It's different if they say this and you see them doing the things that they need to do. Or some people move in silence. But if it's like a close person to you and they always say, as soon as I do this, but they never actually do it, they are lying to themselves. Just keep it in between me. They're lying. They're not telling the truth, because if they keep saying, as soon as I do this, but they're not doing nothing to lead towards that direction, if anything, they're doing something that pushes them further away, best believe, that person is lying to themselves. So if you're around people who constantly have goals but never accomplish them, how do you expect to accomplish them? Like, you can be that one friend who does everything, but if you're around all those friends who don't do nothing, you're not going to do nothing either. If you're around people who are comfortable where they're at, and there's nothing wrong with being comfortable. There is nothing wrong with being comfortable. If you are happy with where you're at, that is completely fine. But if you're on a journey, and I say a journey because when you decide to accomplish a goal, that is you starting that journey. Every action towards that goal is you pursuing that journey. So if you're on a journey and someone else is right here and you're trying to go up here, how are they going to stick with you? How can you be around them and still be pursuing your goal? There's nothing wrong with having friends who are comfortable with where they're at. I want to make that clear. There's nothing wrong with that. But I say sometimes you have to distance yourself from people who are like that, just because your mindset will not allow you to think like that. Your mindset will not allow you to constantly say things like, as soon as I'm going to do this, but never put in the action behind it. So that's what I mean is when I say it's important to surround yourself around people who are accomplishing goals. People who are maybe on the same journey that you are. Join a Facebook group or something. There's tons of people in the world who want to be first-time homeowners, because first-time homeowners are walking the path towards generational wealth. And when I say that, I mean it, because if you rent a house for your entire life, you rent a house for your whole 60, 70, 80 years of your life, and you pass away, what are you going to leave your kids? What are they going to have? Are they going to have nothing? As far as properties and real estate is where the wealth is, because it holds wealth. When you pay off your mortgage, your house doesn't just start being worth nothing. It's still worth the same amount, if not more, than where you left off. So you can invest, you can take money out. There's a bunch of things. I can talk about that in a different video. But I just mean in general is that, surround yourself around people who are similar thinking, who want more out of life, who want more than their current situation, who want more than just living at home with your parents, who want more than just renting and living from month to month and just surviving. Surround yourself around people who want more. the last thing I want to suggest for you guys is honestly, find you a mentor. Find you a mentor who has done what you are trying to accomplish, whether that's buying a house, buying a duplex, buying whatever it is. Find someone who's done it before and listen to the advice they have to give you, honestly, because they can teach you from their lessons that they learned so that you don't have to learn those lessons, or you do learn them, but from secondhand experience, you know? So, I will be honest with you guys, I'm going to be filming more videos about stuff like this, about first-time home ownership and the best tips that I can provide for you guys. So I recommend, if that is the journey that you are on, you subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment below and say I'm in, because honestly, I'm here to help. I'm here to help you guys, because I know for me, I wish I had as much guidance, as much thoughts, as much experience as I do now, having gone through the process once. You know, once you align your mindset, the steps, your actions will follow. I guarantee you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a long one, but I honestly hope and pray that you found some value here and that you feel confident in about how you can start aligning your mindset towards owning your first home. In your 20s, okay? In your 20s. I'm talking about the young people who are ready to not even do the renting thing or to stop the renting thing so that they can start their journey towards wealth. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And please, please, please share this video with someone you feel like it can help. Okay? Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.